That's a compliment.
Yeah.
Okay, take my word for it. That's a compliment.
Oh,
Punch him. Punch him.
I know.
But punch him anyway.
But punch him anyway.
Yeah, he really wasn't supposed to talk about it. There's a problem. Okay. This piece refers to an experience I had on the Nevada test site, just to give some context. It's called Slideshow. The divine prostitute has laid herself down. Her fingertips and toes of her horizontal stretch along the vertical slide of the strata of sand, wind, sky, and space. Men, and sometimes women, the genderless too, have traversed her body on vehicle-less voyage, seeking fruits, seeking juices, some seeking the pus-filled, disease waters of the used and abused. Their voyages are their own books, have been renowned over centuries, because quests are a universal reckoning that strums sweet chords in the spine. In modern times, airplanes so easily cross time zones, her vastness is no longer as recognized or revered. Rarely are the fires burnt for her. Her lipstick stale, cold sores pop in the terminal gate, and her eyes may look to be searching, but they are simply tracing her wards along their faded paths of arrival and departure, along her thighs several continents yonder. She's urging good decisions, saying, I do love you because I know you. If she were to be asked, though we must admit few ask, it's a frightening confrontation. What saddens her over the taut and still tumultuous revolutions she's weathered, I know what she'd say. These everlasting humans remain so small among me when their souls are my equals. I have not yet found my vocation enough to not be this large body, this guide, to show them it is not to fall into love as if enslaved, but to claim their vastness, bind cellular structures into our already bondedness, live the largest, but without being superlative. In fact, she once answered me thus, and I've transcribed the notes verbatim. And since they stay so small by me, she said, I have failed. This was many years ago. Perhaps a sympathetic reporter, if they were strong enough, if they were un-American enough to have listened to her, would have taken her hand gracefully and stroked it. 2. It's possible the wars were still running unabated, blood boiling world over. I'd not maintained audible contact with the Rushings. It was a strange time. I hadn't heard anything but the resemblance of a lilting echo of my heartbeat for months, if we still had months. It's possible someone was still ripping down the days with the moon and sun. Or maybe it was hers I heard. Let me remember here precisely, it may help. There were these witchy women way back who divined a whole new ritual for the 1980s and beyond. I came across them once in the bombed-out Nevada, and we had corn in our hands, one apiece. It had traveled by foot several states. My hands, I have never ever, not my greatest aspiring to touch heavens, known they could. Recall back to childhood mass or mosque. Recall the vocal tonings. Recall the stacking of them. Recall the pure shaft of here to everywhere that busted up your chest so sweetly, the stained glass archway dripping like honey onto your young being sanctified. Now, older, we stacked our tones in parched land. I didn't even know these people. They were the most beautiful people because I'd never been as closely held by strangers. We'd mark the ends of the continent in our varied apartment buildings and secondhand file cabinets. We stacked our tones all the earth to hear and heed, that some still pay attention and do, that we were mournful beyond consolation. And why should she, after all she'd been through, have to console us anyhow? This is the only song appropriate in the presence of dying. So you are there in your childhood sanctuary, experiencing for the first time odd attempts at praising a great power. You know orchestrated awe now. Now take awe back to its appropriate place, the treetops and azure slips where you first yourself heard it, unaided. Now take it here. Beside you is a woman from San Diego, and she has started to sing. Beside her is a leather foot soldier from Salt Lake, and he has started singing. Beside him is a braided rememberer, and he has started singing. Beside him is the woman with AA sunk into the cracks of her face, and she has started singing. Beside her is my first love, and he has taken that New Orleans free jazz and started singing. And beside him is a man who aims for deer to roam someday, and he has started singing. And beside him is me, and I've piled this tonal pile, so fierce, such fiercest force of our hands and throats. It is every pitch, and it is perfect. Its crescendo zaps through the marrowed halls of my body's energetic lines until it ends up pulsing so insistently and perfectly in the palms of my hands, my hands. Then the woman instructs us, swoop downward, place your hands on the earth. Keep some for yourself, give her the rest. Crescendo into decrescendo. The choir has quieted. The afterglow of a soft landing among earthbound divinity. Again, I've done this before. She took, drank, called it good, and politely coughed. Some tumbling weed like pus flew against our ankles. Yes, she is vast, and I wander. We've written this quest quite cooperatively, her and I, the diseased and dreaming. Those wars, are they still raging? It's funny, though she houses them, she has no answer. Her lifelines really are that long.